There's a conversation I keep having with creators, and it usually goes something like this.
I'm starting a podcast and I'm uploading it to YouTube.
And I pause because that's not quite what they think it is. Now, before you think I'm being pedantic, before you think this is just gatekeeping about who gets to use the word podcast, hear me out. You see, this confusion, it's costing creators their independence, and they don't even realize it.
Hi there, my name is Fola Folayan. I am the host of Minding Your Business Africa podcast, and you're listening to Into the Podverse by Tony Doe. Enjoy.
This is Into the Podverse with Tony Doe. Podcast innovations, challenges, opportunities, and culture from an African perspective.
Before we continue, a quick word about something I'm building, the Nigerian Podcast Index, or NPI. It's a public, independent directory created to document Nigerian podcasts, not rank them, not review them, just to make them discoverable and preserved. Too many Nigerian podcasts disappear quietly. The NPI exists so our work doesn't disappear with them. One important thing is that your podcast needs an RSS feed. An RSS feed is what makes your podcast a podcast. It's the open pipeline that allows your show to appear across platforms. Without it, your content is locked inside one app and platforms change. With an RSS feed, you own your distribution. Your episodes can travel, be archived, and still be found years from now. If you host a podcast produced in Nigeria or by a Nigerian anywhere in the world, and you have a working RSS feed, I'd love for you to submit it. It's simple, free, and manually verified. Submit your podcast at bit.ly/submityourpodcastng. Now back to the episode. Let's start with the technology that makes podcasting, podcasting. At its core, podcasting is built on something beautifully simple, the RSS feed. Now, if your eyes just glazed over, stay with me, because this matters. An RSS feed is just an XML file. It's a list. It says, here are my episodes, here's where they live, here's what they're about, and that's it. But here's what makes it powerful. That feed belongs to you. It's yours. You control it. You own it. When you create a proper podcast, you take that RSS feed and you submit it everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Casts, and yes, YouTube too. All these platforms, they're just reading your feed. They're windows into your content. And if one of them changes its terms or raises its prices or just disappears, your podcast keeps existing because the feed is the constant. The platforms are just the viewers. Now let's talk about YouTube. YouTube Music, their podcast platform, absolutely accepts RSS feeds. You can submit your podcast there. Great. That makes YouTube another directory in the ecosystem. But here's the critical part, the part that gets confused. YouTube does not generate RSS feeds for creators who upload audio directly to the platform. Let me say that again because it's the whole ballgame. If you're only uploading your audio to YouTube, no RSS feed of your own, no podcast hosting platform, you have not created a podcast. You've created YouTube content. And that's a fundamentally different thing. Okay, so what's the practical difference? Let's break down what you get with each approach. If you go YouTube only, just uploading audio to YouTube and calling it a podcast, here's what you get. You get YouTube's massive discovery engine, that recommendation algorithm that can surface your content to millions of people. You get visual engagement options, even if it's just a static image with a waveform. You get one simple platform to manage. You can monetize through ads, memberships, super thanks when you meet a threshold. Comments and community features are built right in, and you don't pay separate hosting costs. That's not nothing. That's actually quite a lot. But here's what you lose. Portability. Your content only exists where YouTube allows it to exist. Platform independence. If YouTube changes its algorithm or shifts its policies or decides audio content isn't strategic anymore, you have no fallback. The podcast app ecosystem. Your content will not appear in Apple Podcasts, in Overcast, in Pocket Casts. All those people who never use YouTube for podcasts, they'll never find you. You don't control the RSS feed because there isn't one. You have no cross-platform presence, and you only see the analytics YouTube decides to show you. Now, proper podcasting creating an RSS feed through a podcast host gives you ownership. The feed is yours forever, in fact. You gain ubiquity. Submit once to your host, appear everywhere podcasts are consumed. You gain platform agnosticism. If Apple Podcasts changes or Spotify shifts strategy, your podcast persists. Your listeners get choice. They can use whichever app they prefer. You're future-proofed. New podcast apps can ingest your feed without you lifting a finger. But you lose YouTube's discovery algorithm, unless you also submit your RSS feed to YouTube Music, which you can. You lose the simplicity of a single form. You might lose some visual engagement opportunities, and you'll pay hosting costs for really good platforms, usually $5 to $20 a month. So, which is better? Well, that's the wrong question. Here's where the confusion usually dissolves. The smartest creators don't choose between YouTube and podcasting. They use both. But they understand which one is the source of truth. Here's the optimal workflow. 1. Host your podcast properly. Use a service that generates an RSS feed. Buzzsprout, Libsyn, Transistor, Simplecast, RSS.com. There are dozens of options. 2. Submit that RSS feed to all the directories. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Cast, yada, yada, yada. 3. Optionally, this is the keyword, optionally, upload to YouTube's main platform as well. Treat it as an additional distribution point. Maybe add some visual elements. Make it work for YouTube's audience. This approach gives you the best of both worlds. You get the open, portable nature of true podcasting, and you get YouTube's discovery engine. But crucially, and this is what matters for the long term, your podcast can survive without YouTube. YouTube becomes a marketing channel and not your foundation. And this is where YouTube's strategy gets interesting. YouTube's positioning here is clever. By accepting RSS feeds, they get to present themselves as podcast friendly. They can claim the growing podcast audience. They can say, look, we support podcasts. But by not generating RSS feeds for native uploads, they keep creators locked in. It's a one-way door. Podcasts can flow into YouTube, but YouTube-only audio can't easily flow out. Now, this is not inherently evil. It's just platform strategy. YouTube has no incentive to help you build an audience you could take elsewhere. That's not how platforms work. Understanding this doesn't make you cynical. It makes you clear-eyed, because when you understand the game, you can make better decisions. So here's how to think about your distribution strategy. Ask yourself this one question. If this platform disappeared tomorrow, would my audience know how to find me? If you have a proper podcast with an RSS feed, the answer is yes. Your listeners follow your show in their podcast app of choice. That app pulls from your feed. And if Apple Podcasts shuts down tomorrow, unlikely, but bear with me, your show just continues appearing in Overcast, Pocket Cast, Castro, and everywhere else. If you're YouTube only, the answer is no. Your audience follows you on YouTube. They subscribe to you on YouTube through your YouTube channel. If YouTube changes how it surfaces audio content, if your channel runs afoul of a policy, if the platform simply decides audio isn't strategic anymore, you're starting over. There's also an identity question here. Podcast and YouTube channels signal different things to audiences. A podcast suggests you value deep listening, asynchronous consumption, the intimacy of audio. A YouTube channel suggests visual content, even if minimal, participation in YouTube-specific culture. Neither is better, but they are different. Some audiences will seek you out specifically in podcast apps because that's their trusted listening environment. Others live in YouTube and prefer everything in one place. The question is, do you want to be accessible to both groups or just one? Alright, so what should you actually do? Choose YouTube only if you're experimenting and want the lowest barrier to entry. If your content is highly visual or benefits from YouTube's comment culture, it's fine. If you're comfortable being platform dependent, it's okay. If your audience primarily lives on YouTube already, then go ahead. Choose proper podcasting if you want to build something that outlasts any single platform. If you value listener independence and choice, if you want to appear in the dedicated podcast ecosystem, if you're thinking long-term about audience ownership. Choose both if you want maximum reach. If you can handle the small additional complexity, if you want YouTube as a discovery tool, but podcasting as your foundation. And honestly, for most creators, both is the right answer. Here's the bottom line. YouTube can be part of your podcasting strategy. It can even be a major part. But uploading audio to YouTube alone is not podcasting. It's creating YouTube content. And that's fine, as long as you're making the choice deliberately. Podcasting is about decentralization, portability, open standards, creating something that exists independent of any single corporation's whims. YouTube is about centralization, optimization for a specific algorithm, playing by one platform's rules. Both are valid. Both have value, but they are not the same thing. And confusing them means you might accidentally build on a foundation less solid than you think. The beauty of this moment, right now, is that you don't have to choose exclusively. Create a real podcast, submit it everywhere, including YouTube Music, upload to YouTube's main platform too if that serves your goals. But keep the RSS feed, that portable, platform-independent heartbeat of true podcasting, at the center of your strategy. That way, no matter what happens to YouTube or Spotify or Apple or any other platform, your podcast continues. Your audience knows where to find you, and you maintain ownership of something increasingly rare in the creator economy. True independence. I hope today's episode sparked some ideas, tackled a challenge, or opened your eyes to a new opportunity. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps keep this conversation going. And if you've got thoughts or stories of your own, then please reach out to me at Tony Doe Media on social media. I'd love to hear them. Until next time, keep innovating, growing, and chasing those opportunities. Chat again soon.